So in today's video, we are back talking about studio photography. It's been a little while, I think, since we've done a studio-based video. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at beauty photography, and we're going to be looking at a 1 to 2 light setup. The second light is kind of optional, and you'll see what I mean later on in the video when we get to talking about the setup. But yeah, we're going to be looking at some studio-based beauty portrait photography that I tried my hand at using both digital, using the Sony A7IV and 2 different lenses, the 70 to 200 Sony 2.8 lens and the 28 to 70 2.8 Sigma lens for Sony. And also a bit on film using the Mamiya RZ67 Pro II, the 110mm 2.8 lens and Kodak Gold 200. So the shots that we're going to be looking at are across 2 different days with 2 different makeup artists, 4 different models, but the same lighting setup throughout. I will link both makeup artists and all 4 models in the description if you want to check out their other work. So on these kinds of studio shoots, test shoots, I predominantly use my digital camera to test the lighting setup, to meter the scene, to know what settings to plug into my film camera. I find this to be the most cost effective but also accurate way to work with flashes when you're working with film, especially as someone that doesn't own a dedicated light meter, and also as someone that usually always has my digital camera with me as well. So let's actually start talking about this lighting setup. We kept it really simple with a 2 light setup, like I mentioned, which you could really easily adapt into 1 light. We use lighting from Pixapro, which is the lighting brand of choice in Be Cool Studios, who is the studio in Manchester that we used. I'll link those guys in the description as well. Our first light, and this light is kind of the optional light, was pointed at the backdrop. It was just a bare bulb pointed at the backdrop, set at around 1/32. And this was to help create a lighter background that gave a gradient effect. And then the main light source, of course, was directed towards the model. So this was set to 1/4. It was on a C-stand with a boom arm above me, pointed down at the model with a really large softbox. You know, the bigger the modifier, the bigger the softbox, the more diffused the light source. So we went for a really big softbox that was going to diffuse the light and be perfect to kind of show off the makeup. In some of the shots, we also held a reflector underneath the model to fill in any shadows, you know, normal shadows that are kind of underneath chins or eyebrows, noses, things like that. A big shout out to Compton, who is the studio manager at Be Cool Studios, for always helping with the lighting, for suggesting different setups, and for helping with all of like the physical work of, you know, dragging lights around, putting them up, changing the modifiers. Having someone to help do all of that really does take a massive amount of pressure off you as a photographer, so you can just focus on what you're doing and what you're actually photographing. Compton is a brilliant photographer in his own right, and he also runs a YouTube channel where he dissects so many of his lighting setups. If you are new to studio photography and you're looking to learn some really simple but effective lighting setups, I will link his channel in the description, because that is definitely a channel I would recommend you go through and watch. So as I said, I did opt to shoot Kodak Gold for these film shots. It is definitely my favourite film stock to shoot when I'm in the studio. It's great for skin colour rendition, skin tone rendition, but it also has a low ISO, which makes it great for shooting powerful flashes with. For most of my studio-based work, I use Kodak Gold 200, unless I'm using maybe continuous lighting and I need a higher ISO. Studio photography is something that I have tried to document on this channel over the years as I've grown more competent and more comfortable with working in the studio and working with artificial lighting. So I really hope that this simple setup is useful for you guys and something that you want to take into your next beauty or portrait shoot when you're working in the studio. A big thank you to all the models, both makeup artists and of course Compton and Be Cool Studios, for all of the help and assistance in this video. As ever, everyone will be linked in the description. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, then please do remember to give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe and all of that good stuff. It really does help to grow the channel. But I will see you guys in the next one.